Whether you're trying to save money, eat better, or stress less, HelloFresh is here to help you do all three. Say hello to your most delicious year yet with fresh ingredients and chef-crafted recipes at the price you like, delivered right to your door. Go to hellofresh.com/IDACATFree and use the code IDACATFREE, IDKATFREEE, for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life, available for a limited time at hellofresh.com/IDACATFree. Use the code IDKATFREE. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Sandwich. Dirt witch. Gravel witch. Which one tastes the best? You might find out on I Don't Know About That with Jim Jefferies.
A chip witch.
Chip witch?
Yeah.
It's a chip. I was going different bits of dirt, of elements of the land.
A chip witch is ice cream, I think, right?
I have no idea.
You're saying with chips in it?
Like chocolate chips.
Chip witch?
Oh, yeah, but no.
Oh, yeah, it's like a cookie ice cream
Yeah,
sandwich.
I think the chip witch would...
That looks good.
I don't know. It depends what sandwich. All right, starting off with a bang.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I had a big yawn there. I'm having a lovely week. My mother-in-law's in town. Yeah. She watches this podcast so much. She listens to this podcast so much that if one of the topics comes up, she forgets that she knows that information from the podcast, and she tells me, which is good because I forgot.
How come she's not here? You bring her in.
She's off doing things with her daughter. You know, it's rained ever since she's got there. She's from England. We've done the jokes. brought the weather. Did you? Oh,
reminds you of home?
Yeah. We wanted you to feel like home.
A lot of those.
Yeah, all day. That's all I do. Break the silence.
There's a lot of silence.
Yeah, it's normally just me and her staring at each other across the table. And then occasionally I think I should put the telly on. That'll really help out here. That'll really help out.
Yeah, maybe some music.
But then I'm like, nah, just keep with the staring. Something's got to give.
We have a live podcast coming up.
Oh.
Live.
March 5th at Flappers in Burbank. If you live in the LA area.
Or fly in.
Fly on in.
Good way to remember it is March the 5th be with you.
That is a good way to remember it.
That's one way you can remember it. Yeah. Or just March 5th.
March 5th, never forget.
What about something that rhymes with March 5th?
There's nothing that rhymes with March 5th.
Exactly, but that's the thing. There's nothing that rhymes with March 5th. Live podcast.
Orange.
Chicken.
Nothing rhymes with orange.
Right.
You know that's a thing, right?
That is a thing.
Okay.
But Eminem dispelled that.
What?
Door hinge.
Door hinge, orange.
Oh, Eminem the rapper. I thought you were talking about
he gave like five things. That,
door hinge. Orange.
Because it's all you do is slant rhymes and you make it work.
Yeah.
My wife does something that annoys me. This is just one of many things, but that's marriage, and you live with the same person every day, right? And she does something. So my wife has an English accent. I have an Australian accent, in case you haven't been following the podcast. And my wife says the word tomato now like an American.
Tomato.
She says tomato.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't say that. And she goes, what? I go, there's a fucking song written about this. There's a song.
Yeah.
You know, what are you saying tomato for?
Because that's what she wants.
No, tomato.
She's assimilated.
Tomato. And until the day I die, I'll be calling those things potatoes.
So the 5th of March.
No one says potato. That's the point.
Oh, you just say potato?
Yeah, well, I say potato.
I say potato.
You says potato?
I say potato.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Okay.
What are these gigs?
March 5th, again, is the live podcast at Flappers, 8 p.m. Go to the website, buy some tickets, come see us.
Another way to remember it is it's 250 days before Christmas.
I don't know.
Someone fact check that?
I think that's off. By
Another good way to remember it. Or remember like this. Remember when you were in the 5th grade and they made you march one time?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Also, we are possibly doing one in Australia.
There's a maybe. There's some things being thrown around. There's things that I can't announce yet that I'm doing in Australia, but I'm going to be in Australia filming something in April.
Yeah.
But it's not the 1% Club. And I'm still doing the 1% Club. I haven't stopped doing the 1%. We're going to be filming the 1% Club in July. May I say the #1 new entertainment show on Australian TV. If the adverts are anything to go by, that's what I've been told. So I had to do a little press for the 1% Club all week, and I've been doing interviews with different print magazines. I never like print magazines because you can not even be misquoted as such, but people can't hear the intonation in your voice when you say
Sometimes something written out doesn't read the same.
Everything I say is so much more charming than when it's written out. You fat cunt.
Ouch. Okay.
No. See how I did it like that, and Jack just sort of took it.
Yeah.
But if he read that, he'd be very offended.
Well, speaking of Australia,
That's true though.
Yeah, if you read it in court, and Jack, I'm not going to edit anything else. You fat cunt.
Go, wow, was he an abusive boss? Yes.
Yeah.
speaking of Australia, I have shows there. April 24th and 26th. I'll be at the Factory Theatre in Sydney. Will
Forrest be out in April as well? What's going on?
What? Well, I can announce these. So April 24th and 26th in Sydney, I'll be at the Factory Theatre. There are links to the tickets on my website at foreshaw.net. And then I believe it's May 2nd through the 4th or 5th at the Comics Lounge in Melbourne. That's also on my website.
May the 5th be with you.
There you go. Remember that. May the 4th. May 4th. May 4th. I'll be at Comics Lounge for sure. Also a couple other days in Melbourne. Melbourne. And then, Jim, you got some dates coming up, too. Let's see what you got coming up here, buddy. You got Vegas, March 8th and 9th.
March 8th and 9th. The March of the 8th and the 9th.
Yeah, right after the live podcast.
Remember it by the Take Back the Night March.
Yep.
From the mid-'80s.
8, 9.
Only if you're in Vegas. And then March 16th, you'll be at Spirit Mountain Casino in Grand Ronde, Oregon.
March 16. Remember that as a 16-year-old marching over a hill.
Yep.
That's a lot of marching. March 22nd, Des Moines, Iowa.
Remember that because it's my Uncle Brian's birthday. That's an easy way to remember it.
March 23rd, Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, that's Forrest. But when is your birthday? Your birthday's in December.
December 1st.
Yeah, December 1st.
So don't
every year for the next 3 years.
And then you're in South Africa, April 12th and 13th. How do you remember that?
I am. This is how you remember it. What are the dates?
April 12th.
April 12th, I'm going to be in Cape Town. I'm going to come and do jokes for you. Come and see me.
What is this?
That's South Africa.
I know it's South Africa, but it's very...
you got to take good care of yourself when you get to the intersections because there's a lot of guard chickens.
Is that Arnold doing?
Yeah.
I'm doing extreme South
April
Africa.
13th, you're in Pretoria, South Africa.
The gigs in South Africa are sold really well already. They're almost sold out. So if you haven't got tickets, get your tickets now because they're almost sold out. I've left one seat for Oscar Pistorius to
just
come
one.
and
He's
see
got to bring somebody.
Yeah, but he only takes up 3/4 of a seat, and he's like a celebrity. So whatever chick he brings is going to be super thin, right? so, and like when you date Oscar Pistorius and he doesn't bring his legs, do you sit on his lap?
Or opposite, he would sit on yours.
No, but a man, you never just waddle up onto, because I've always had the I don't know. So at the moment,
have you really invited him?
Oh yes, I'm inviting you right now, Oscar. Come and see me.
He doesn't listen to this podcast.
He would. Why wouldn't he?
This
podcast mentions him more than any other podcast.
Probably.
Like if he wants to get his ego inflated, he fucking get your flippers on, mate. Come on down. Come on down. Bouncy, 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 bouncy. We'll see ya. Just spring on down.
All right. So May 2nd,
you'll get the disabled sit at the front. You'll be right next to. There'll be a blind person, a deaf person, and Oscar, and they'll all be sitting in the same section. Nothing in common. What's that conversation got to be like?
Yeah, I murdered somebody. Oh.
Hey, yeah. Well, don't tell anyone. And then the next bloke's like, I couldn't if I wanted to. I don't know what you said.
May 2nd, Spokane, Washington.
May the 2nd be with you.
May 3rd, Denver, Colorado.
May the 3rd be with you.
And an added show on May 4th, Denver, Colorado.
We told him March.
No, he did. No, he said May.
Oh, was it?
No, you're March.
And who are you referring to?
Oh,
Who are you referring to in the intro to the podcast?
Okay, well, I'm going to be in Denver, Colorado. One of the shows is sold out. One of the shows is the second show has been added. It's been added to the thing. And
May 4th.
the best way to remember it is On Grandma's Featherbed, a song by John Denver. And I'll sing it 5 times so you know it's on the 5th. Grandma's Featherbed, Grandma's Featherbed, Grandma's Featherbed, Grandma's Featherbed. I'll sing it 4 times.
3rd and 4th.
So 4 times I sing Grandma's Featherbed as recorded by John Denver, meaning I'm in Denver.
Yeah.
March the 4th be with you.
And then you got other dates. They're on JimJefferies.com. They got to update these, by the way.
Okay.
That LA one's wrong. And,
Yeah, the LA ones.
but you're in North Charleston, Fort Lauderdale, San Francisco. You're back in Vegas on the 30th and 31st of August. That's easy to remember.
Well, I got to update my bio. If you guys see me, it just says he's recording the FX show legit.
On your website?
Yeah,
Just moved to the United States.
know-
That's an HBO special.
No one cares about those
There's
things.
not even a
though.
bio on there.
No, that one doesn't need it. That's my webpage. You already know who I am. You've come to see me. You should
I have a bio on mine.
You should be telling me about you.
Should have a section on here. Tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
There's a contact here. Contact has your management and has all their names.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what they do.
Well, one of them is wrong in here. You got to get rid of that.
Which one's wrong in there?
Well, she's not there anymore.
Oh, well, Joanna.
You gotta update this whole website.
She moved companies.
Got the whole website. This picture. Do you still like this picture?
It's from 50 years ago, so yeah.
Yeah.
I've gone grey in the time that I've been married. I've been married for 3 years, and all my greyness has happened in that 3 years. I don't know who to blame, but it's not me.
Mother Nature.
Being married to my wife is like being the president. You know how they show you those pages?
Yeah.
How hard the presidency's been.
Yeah. I was
A lot
just
of golf.
I was just reading my bio.
What
My bio's no good. I gotta fix it.
does it say? 160 pounds?
Look at this guy. He was voted thinnest comic.
If you want to see him out and about, he's rowing crew.
Some people said, "Hey, how do you get that fit?" He does a lot of jokes about fitness, eating well.
Yeah, like a strong mighty oak in the forest. Forest is the forest.
It does say, "I became a comedian after a decade of life as a marine biologist." That's not even right. It was longer than a decade.
13 years.
Yeah. All right.
Jack's very funny today.
Just wait till the second half where
No, you're
I
hopeless.
drop off.
Hopeless in that one.
Hopeless.
Hopeless that one.
I got my stride going for the intro.
Yeah. We should always do the intro second, so Jack's this funny.
All right. I think we're done.
Do you want to read an ad?
Oh, IDCAP podcast on Instagram. Follow that.
This is us. We don't have to advertise this show. People are already on it.
Hey, if you guys like
No,
podcasts,
but like follow us on Instagram.
Follow me on Instagram as well.
Me too. Jack.
yeah, follow me too.
Aaron.
And do it. Get on the subscribe on the channel. We want to make this channel as if I get as big as Mr. Beast, then I'll do all the Mr. Beast things. I'll give away double the amount of money as Mr. Beast.
More
This is
cars.
The first we've heard of this. Yeah. Wait. Do you mean your YouTube channel? If you get as big as Mr. Beast?
Look, Mr. Beast, when he first started doing things, only had like 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
I already have 200,000. I'm ahead of the game.
So subscribe to Jim Jefferies on YouTube.
If we get to 1 million subscribers, I'll give away some money.
Hey,
Look, if I get
I was about to say $1 million, and I went, well, what if it happens?
if I get to 50,000 followers on Instagram, I'll give away some of Jim's money.
All right.
that's a good deal.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And I'd like to congratulate the Kansas City Chiefs on their victory.
Ooh, edgy.
Good prediction.
Yeah, I'm predicting things that haven't happened.
Yeah.
Also, on the Ukraine taking over Russia. Well done, lads.
That was quick.
I'll have one more prediction for Tuesday.
We're 3 days away.
Yeah.
4 days.
I'm sorry for everyone who's got the new variant of AIDS. Delta AIDS. Like, yeah, like we got so close to fixing the other AIDS with all the other stuff.
The Omicron AIDS.
But look, Omicron AIDS, you don't even know you have it. Your T cell counts decrease.
You think you just have a cold?
I know you increase.
Okay, yeah.
Do you want them or not?
You want T cells.
You want T cells. You get more T cells off Omnicrom AIDS.
That's a good one.
Any other news?
Well, I was just very upset about Delta AIDS.
That one's pretty
for
bad.
all the people who are dealing with it this week, chin up. But I hear that's how you catch it, so chin down.
All right. Now let's meet our guest, Burt Dubrow.
G'day, Burt. Now it's time to play.
Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Judging a book by its cover.
All right, Burt. I'm looking at Burt, and Burt's got a puppet of himself, which is the likeness is remarkable. It must have been, it's got him.
Well, the question is, which one's the puppet?
Yeah,
That's the question.
Well, I saw your lips move, so you're obviously the puppet. Are we?
Right, that's right.
God, you're good.
Are we doing a podcast on ventriloquism?
We are.
All right.
Yay!
All right. Here's the thing. I'm a fan. I like ventriloquists.
Well, that's good.
It's the opposite of what I do for comedy, but often I believe they get shit on too much in the comedy community. People love them. If it's done well, and if you see one live, it's very entertaining, and they get to say everything that I would like to say on stage, but I can't because I'm not a puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me introduce
That's
Burt.
exactly right. That's exactly right.
Burt Dubrow is a multiple Emmy and Cable Ace Award winning producer. He has developed and produced shows such as The Dr. Drew Show, The Jerry Springer Show, Sally Jesse Raphael, and The New Tom Green Show. Currently, Burt is a senior executive producer of Daily Blast Live, a nationally syndicated daytime talk show airing in 76 markets and 80 stations across the country. Burt is a student of television and owns an extensive collection of memorabilia, ventriloquist figures, videotapes, and kinescopes. Yeah. How did you get into ventriloquism, Burt?
Well, let's first of all be honest here. I am not a ventriloquist, but I do collect these ventriloquist figures, which I'm well aware we probably just lost listeners. But I think I'm out of my mind. But I'll tell you why.
If you're listening to the radio
when
portion of the podcast, his lips aren't moving. He's fantastic.
When I was growing up, that's really all you saw on television. For some reason, in the 50s and even the 60s, for kids shows, it was all puppets. And it was all a lot of ventriloquists, a lot of puppets. And I, believe it or not, at that age, wanted to be in television, so watched it all. And I took a loving, not a liking, a loving to these performers, Paul Winchell, Edgar Bergen. These names may mean something to some people who are watching, listening. Paul Winchell, Edgar Bergen, Jimmy Nelson, Sherry Lewis. These were all major stars of the time that were ventriloquists.
All right. Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask Jim a series of questions about ventriloquism. And at the end of him answering them, you can grade him on his accuracy 0 through 10. 10's the best. Jack here is going to grade him on his confidence. I'm going to grade him on how hungry I am. And we'll add all those scores together. And if it doesn't matter what you score, you're going to be a dummy.
All right.
Today,
I'm down.
So wait a minute, hold on 1 second. So you guys score here. I'm just watching, right?
No, you score his accuracy of his answers.
You score accuracy. They all have different
Yeah.
categories.
Okay.
You just
Yeah.
score
I just
whether
want to get this right. Okay,
you
got
score
it.
whether I'm right or wrong.
By the way, Burt, no pressure. Doesn't matter. These scores at all. So
It doesn't matter. The forest means a lot to me.
I feel the same way.
yeah.
Move
Okay.
on.
First question. What is ventriloquism?
Ventriloquism is puppeteering where the artist remains on the stage with the puppet. The optimum way to do it is to make it look like your lips aren't moving and the puppet's talking. So they can never truly talk at the same time.
All right. Just for fun for me, spell ventriloquism.
VENTRAQUELISMEW.
You
Silent
just
P.
gave up there after the cue. Okay. What are some names? What are some names of the earliest performers of ventriloquism?
The earliest ones. Oh, I don't know the earliest. Whoever you just mentioned then was the
Well, you
real
gotta- well, so what did he say?
stars of the day.
Burt just said some names.
Jerry Lewis probably had a go at it. He did everything in entertainment. I'll say Jerry Lewis.
Okay. How does a ventriloquist throw their voice? Like, how do they do it?
They don't throw their voice as such because the voice doesn't land up in a different area. They just keep their lips together like this and they speak as much as they can, and then they always talk like this is the thing.
That's how they do it.
That's how they do it. You just you put a permanent sort of sly smile. Oh yeah, it's wonderful thing we're doing here today. It's yeah, they're pretty good.
What are the 5 letters that can't be said without moving one's lips?
Q. Let's do
You
it.
can't run through all.
A B E C C D D E F F G G.
Wait, have you said a letter yet?
H.
There's 5 letters.
H I J K L M N O R O P.
Riveting podcasting.
P V Q R S T U W. W you can't do. W is a real.
W is
W is a
tough one.
W
One
is a
letter.
real kind of a
4
letter.
more, please.
W X Y and Z. Now I know ABC. Next time you sing with me.
Okay, we're
Yeah.
moving on.
Well, it
W
looks
is what
like
you got?
just for Jim, it's W. So he's
W,
really
only
good.
one, yeah.
I think you're
W.
meant to do this.
What are the puppets called? We've already.
Dummies.
And how are dummies made?
Well, you see, okay, so you've got the traditional puppet, which will have a stick, which will have a couple of levers on it, which will move the eyebrows and the eyes left to right and all that type of stuff. And then you have a more traditional puppet now, which is more like a Muppet, where you can put your hand in and just do the mouth and then maybe have some fingers up top that will do the eyebrows.
So how do you
and stuff
make
like
it?
that. Well, it depends whether we're doing something made of fabric or something made of wood. Okay. If it's a traditional one made of wood, I would believe they'd be hand carved. And they would be made out of something, oak or something like that, and they'd be polished and stained and coloured, and they'd throw a wig on the top of it, and then they call him something like Archie, and they give him a bow tie. And Archie, he fucks a lot of things. I don't know why. I know this about ventriloquism dolls, right? When the ventriloquist is not around, the puppet is up to no good, inviting other puppets back to the bag, having sex. Very big sex lives, the puppets.
Oh, okay. Who are some well-known dummy makers?
I would say most New Zealand parents. No, that's a joke. Hello, New Zealand. Sorry, joking. Be down there soon for a tour. I don't know. It would be okay. Steiff from Germany, the Steiff company.
Steiff?
Yeah, Steiff.
Are you making that up?
No, they're big. They're a big manufacturer. of
Okay,
things.
Steiff.
Steiff. The pin in the ear.
Who was the Great Lester?
He would have been a puppet, not the actual ventriloquist. He would have been a puppet. See, I worked with Otto and George a couple of times.
Yeah.
And so
the best.
so George was the ventriloquist and Otto was the puppet. Now Otto was the ventriloquist and George was the puppet.
Yeah.
And Otto said to me that he liked it when the puppets had ordinary names.
Yeah. Okay.
So he was
Great Lester is a puppet, not a ventriloquist.
Lester's the puppet.
When did you work with them?
I did the Nasty Show with him many
passed away
years
since,
ago. Back when he used to do the routine where in Montreal, where he used to do the routine where Otto's head, George's head would blow out, and he'd do a John F. K impersonation, and then he'd flip forward and
yeah. Who is the most famous dummy? The name.
Yeah. Whoever the most famous one now is the old one that what's his name does, the guy who pays all the child support.
There's questions coming up.
You know he's Jeff Dunham. Jeff Dunham. The guy who pays all the child support. Everyone goes, Jeff Dunham. His old man puppet would be the most popular one. He just brought out a special just recently. Where
but
Cuba, which is like a Valentine's Day special.
Historically, even when I saw this bummy, I was like, oh yeah, that one.
It's the one with the freckles on the face.
Okay, we'll see. Yeah. Who is Howdy Doody?
That's the one. He's the most famous one. Howdy Doody.
You think Howdy Doody's the most famous? Okay.
Howdy Doody's your most famous. He's the one I'm thinking of. Howdy Doody had the Howdy Doody show back in the 1950s and early 60s in America, and he was very much liked by American children.
Name some other famous dummies. You named Walter.
Well, okay, but now do we classify Kermit the Frog as one? Because he's not real.
I don't think that's a ventriloquist. They can talk underneath.
Yeah, they're underneath it, but that doesn't mean they're not a dummy.
I think it's just a puppet.
I'll tell you who's the most unsung hero of television is the guy who played Big Bird into his 70s, who just fucking walked around like that all day.
Yeah.
and then and he had like a little tiny like screen in front of him where he could watch, and he just walked around all day with his arm up, and he used to run across roads and everything, like unbelievable. That guy didn't die in that suit.
All right, so
Big Bird.
Okay, Big Bird. Name some famous ventriloquists.
Jeff Dunham, Nina Conti in the UK. Who's the other guy in the UK? He's quite good. He came second on America's Got Talent. Forgotten. I've worked with him before. I can't remember his name right now.
The guy who's
You perform in
the theater.
a theater that was built for one.
Oh, Terry Fader. Terry Fader. Terry Fader. Yeah, he's a good. He sings as well. That's quite the remarkable thing. And he does impersonations of famous people whilst being a ventriloquist.
Okay, a couple more questions. Name some famous actors that started out as ventriloquists.
I wasn't Keanu Reeves was a dummy, and then he graduated to being a real boy. No, I don't know. I like Keanu Reeves. Why don't I pick on them? Everyone's most loved.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Go pick on Tom Hanks next.
Yeah. Fucking Tom Hanks. You were shitting Elvis, Tom.
That's fair.
Yeah, no one
fair.
sounded like that. I was your biggest fan, Tom, and you let me down.
Famous actors that started out as ventriloquists.
Famous actors who started out as ventriloquists. Marilyn Monroe.
Uh-huh. Everyone knows that.
I'm going to say Walter Cronkite. I know he's not an actor, but it's still in the same realm, and I should get a bonus point because that's what he started doing.
Okay.
That's the news today.
Yeah.
And that was very good.
Marilyn Monroe.
I reckon probably Jim Henson started off doing a bit of ventriloquism with Ralph the dog, which was his first puppet.
He's not a famous actor, but sure.
Whether you're trying to save money, eat better, or stress less, HelloFresh is here to help you do all three. Say hello to your most delicious year yet with fresh ingredients and chef-crafted recipes at a price you'll like, delivered right to your door. Each HelloFresh box is packed with farm-fresh ingredients, and everything arrives pre-portioned right to your doorstep for less hassle and less wasted food. This time of year, everyone's looking to revamp their eating habits and get back on track. Look to HelloFresh wholesome, health-forward options like over 30 calorie-smart and protein-smart recipes all week. Man, I had this thing.
You love this.
I had this pasta from HelloFresh, which is one of my favorite pastas still ever. It's the pork sausage one.
Yeah.
It might also be.
You texted us.
I've given up pork for a long time, and HelloFresh just delivered me a box, and I was like, well, I'm not going to throw it out. I got to eat this. Good, wasn't it? Bloody good.
He texted Jack and I.
It was really good. It was really, really good.
He was like, what's the code again? I want to get more.
Yeah, I used our own code to buy more.
Yeah, well, it's good.
Yeah, I had a cat free.
Yeah, there you go.
Go to hellofresh.com/IdaCatFree and use the code IdaCatFree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life available at a limited time at hellofresh.com/IdaCatFree with code IDKATFREE. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. I'm not kidding here either, people. It's good. Go get it. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Who is the highest paid ventriloquist?
Jeff Dunham.
Jeff Dunham. All right, I have one more question I'll ask you, but Jax has the answer to that, so we'll do that later. All right, Burt, how did Jim do in his knowledge of ventriloquism? 0 through 10, 10's the best.
I think Jim did exceptionally well. I would give him all around probably an 8.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Yeah, I think you did better than most would do of your age.
Oh, I thought you were going to go nationality.
That too. Yeah, that too.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
How did he do in confidence, sir?
I gave him a 7. He had some shaky moments,
7.
but he had some real confidence.
Yeah.
If you get me water, I'll drink it whilst talking as you.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on.
I was ready to go.
We'll do that later. We have something in studio for you. And then I'm pretty hungry. 10, you're still a dummy. All right, cool. So what is ventriloquism? Jim said it's puppeteering, where the puppeteer stays on stage with a puppet, makes it look like your lips don't move. Is that pretty much all there is to it? Or?
Yeah. And Jim was also right that the expression "throw your voice" is an expression. The voice doesn't go anywhere. It starts here. The whole idea of ventriloquism is you're sort of talking from your stomach and squeezing, and the voice can sound like it's coming from elsewhere, but of course it's not.
Yeah. So speaking of that, I mean, just jumping ahead, how does a ventriloquist do that with their voice? So they squeeze their stomach? Is that what they're...
Well, in other words, it comes out, it's like this. It's like you're talking like this almost. You know what I mean? Like you're that, and that's really where the voice comes from, and how the voice becomes different, and how it becomes ventriloquial rather than just the way I'm speaking right now. So that's why you hear a lot of talk voices like that, because they're squeezing.
So ventriloquial. So what does the actual word mean? What's the definition of the word?
Well, it's just ventriloquism. It's just speaking ventriloquially means you're speaking as a ventriloquist.
Yeah, there was a question that I wrote here that I wasn't going to ask Burt because we were just talking more about the performers and stuff. But the origin of the word, is that what you want to know, Jim?
Yeah.
I'll just read it then. That's fine.
Okay.
Ventral. It's found in Egyptian and Hebrew archaeology. Here it is. Oh, it means to speak from the stomach.
Oh,
that's exactly what Burt's saying. Yeah,
it's from vaudeville.
Yeah, and the Greek phrase for ventriloquism was gastromancy, and I guess that it goes far back where like they called them belly prophets, and like people thought that they were like speaking, like God was speaking through them. Yeah.
By the way, two celebrities that you may know, Don Knotts, who was on the Andy Griffith Show.
Oh yeah,
and Ted Knight, who was on Mary Tyler Moore, both started out as ventriloquists.
Did they ever have ventriloquists in the silent movies? Because I reckon you could crush it back then.
I don't think so.
Don't call me a dummy, written down the bottom.
Yeah, and I think, by the way, Jim Henson, really, when he came up with the word Muppet, that sort of is an entirely different category. But you do see ventriloquists, like that guy you were talking about from England who won America's Got Talent, and Terry Fader. They all work with what they're called figures, soft figures, not dummies, Jim, by the way, soft figures. And the old school guys work with the wooden ones, the hard figures, they're called.
How long have you had that dummy for, that one there?
My daughter actually had it made as a surprise, as a gift for me about 2 years ago.
Okay, good. I was about to say, like, if it's like 30 years old, you've aged really well.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I looked like him.
I was like, it looks just like you. It's fantastic.
So wait, so the dummies are the wood ones, the harder ones? So that's how they're referred to, or?
Yeah, they're referred to it. The pros refer to them as figures. As figures, not
so
dummies.
hard figures or soft figures. I got you. Okay.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
There's a famous story. There's a ventriloquist in Britain, and the bird was named Orville. So if you find Orville for me, Jack, you'll say. And he used to do, like, it was a great big bird, and the bird used to sing in a very falsetto-y, high voice. But there's a famous story of him going onto stage. And he would always have Orville just sitting upside down, and the last thing he'd do is he'd dunk his arm into Orville, pull our Orville out, and he'd walk on stage and do the show. Well, he was doing a TV performance, and the story goes that one of the other performers shat inside Orville. And so he put his, please welcome to the stage, and he went out there with the whole performance. He had that. And so there you go.
He's a pro.
Ew, now. The truth,
hey, there was a guy in England, I think it was England, his name was Rod Hull, Hull, and he had a big bird, an emu.
Yeah, I know this guy, yeah.
You know the act?
Well, I know that he was big on radio, and then he had to go do TV, and it turned out he wasn't a very good ventriloquist, so he just sort of kept on holding glasses and things in front of his face and just talking like this, but still doing the puppet. Is that the one?
It's worth you guys Googling him. He would destroy, that emu would just attack anybody, and I mean literally. He did the Tonight Show with Carson, and literally went after Carson, and nobody did that. I'm talking physically. Grabbed him by the head, grabbed him by the neck. It was great.
Have it right
Rod
here.
Hull, Hull.
Oh, yeah. We just pulled it up.
An emu.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
There used to be another.
You see him?
Yeah, we see him now, yeah. Yeah.
Very funny.
Oh,
Very
no, I'm
funny.
thinking of a different bloke.
Yeah, he attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look that up, folks.
It's very funny because it is the great get out, the ventriloquist. I've seen ventriloquists just rip into audience members, and the audience members just fucking
like
take
triumph.
it. They just take it.
Kind of.
Take it.
Yeah, but Bert?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, I was still thinking about the stomach part. There must have to be some breathing practicing or something you'd have to do.
Sure.
You just naturally breathe, folks.
And there are stories. There are literally stories where these vents, they call them vents, would be working in like a bar where there's drinking, obviously, and some guy would get so pissed off at the dummy that he'd go over and choke the dummy and didn't even realize the ventriloquist was the one really doing it. Just go after the dummy instead of the ventriloquist.
I've heard those stories where ventriloquist acts have had people come up to them afterwards. Hey, you tell that dummy to watch its fucking mouth. People get.
And by the way,
upset.
Howdy Doody. Was the question what's the most famous puppet or what's the most famous dummy?
So the question was, what is the most famous dummy? Was that? And
that would Howdy Doody would not be considered a dummy.
Yeah. Okay.
He was a marionette.
Marionettes. Yeah, they're the. I don't like marionettes.
What?
Too scary.
I can't stand marionettes.
They're too scary. Also, Punch and Judy. Let's talk about them. They're not marionettes. They were little hand puppets, Punch and Judy.
Yeah.
But the domestic abuse going on in that household. Like they literally call him Punch and Judy. And then she has a rolling pin and bashes him over the head. And then, like, it's when you look back at it as a kid, you're like, how the fuck?
You know, you
produced the Jerry Springer show.
That kind of puppetry was very violent back then. Very violent.
Yeah.
But as I just said, you produced the Jerry Springer show, didn't you?
You're right. They had sticks. They'd beat the shit out of each other, those puppets.
Yeah. And Judy was in rollers. Maybe she put a bit more effort into his outfits. He wouldn't have been so angry. But I don't want to say anything.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard what Jim said. He was referencing you producing the Jerry Springer show in violence, though. I think with the.
You are right, Jim. You are right. There was a lot of violence on the Jerry Springer show, but it was more of a circus than anything else. That's what I was used to. That's what I would call it. When the fighting hit. We never, as long as you brought it up, people think that we planned that, and we didn't. I mean, literally, a fight broke out one day on the show out of nowhere, and we looked at the overnight ratings, and it was like, holy crap, how can we figure this out? And we figured it out, and we ended up just having people on that had horrendous relationships, and they beat the crap out of each other.
But I always thought with those contestants, I could do a whole show on the Jerry Springer show. I watched a lot of Jerry Springer. I always thought with those contestants, weren't they staying in the same hotel? Weren't they possibly flying in on the same plane? Like, wouldn't they seen each other at the airport? Look at their cousins. They've both been invited to the Jerry Springer show, and like for some of them, you can tell that was their. And when you filmed it in Chicago, correct? Or he was the mayor of Cincinnati, but you filmed it in Chicago.
Right.
Chicago.
We started in Cincinnati, then Chicago, then Connecticut. But you know what? How do I put this? They were real. I mean, they were real. It wasn't like they weren't real. But like anything else, once the show became so popular, when you got on the air, you sort of knew what to do. I mean, you weren't going to write in and be on the show and recite a poem.
Yeah.
You know, you knew damn well that the only way you were getting on is if you had a horrendous relationship and things were going to go crazy. That was the only way you were getting on. And
they knew the assignment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How did you send out the invites? Because there would have always been one person who contacted the show like, I don't get along with my brother-in-law. But how do you send the invite to the brother-in-law?
No, here's what we did. In Chicago, locally, not nationally, we would run a voiceover that said, if you've got a horrendous relationship or you're this or you're that, call 1-800-JERRY and then they would all just call us and we'd talk to them and they'd come in. It was pretty much that simple. But the story, we used to say, if you're having a normal argument or a normal crappy relationship, call Oprah, call Geraldo, call Sally. But if it's really bad, come to us.
Ratings.
Exactly.
Ventriloquism, you didn't spell right, Jim. You're going to be surprised to find out. But it's VNT. You're right there. R. Then it's ILOQUISM. Quism. All right. Name some of the earliest performers of ventriloquism. You said Jerry Lewis. Now, did Jerry Lewis do ventriloquism, Burt?
He did not. I said Sherry Lewis, so he probably.
I was trying to take his idea. Also, Jerry Lewis never did. He was more the marionette than more the dummy than anything. Dean Martin was.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've forgotten how to talk.
So Sherry Lewis was a ventriloquist. Okay.
The female ventriloquists are rarer, but I don't. Is there any hindrance to being a female ventriloquist next to a male, or is it all the same playing field we're on, or is it harder for them to do the voice thing?
No, it's the same. It's the same, but you're right. There's more men than women. You mentioned Nina, and there's probably, Nina's probably one of the more successful ones, but there's not a lot of women that do it that are successful. They do it, but they're not successful.
Didn't Carol Burnett have a puppet or something?
Nina's very good. Nina does a little monkey type of thing. She does a regular puppet and all that type of stuff, but she's very good. Her father is Tom Conti, who is a famous actor who, I'm trying to think, the only thing you guys would know him is he played Ross's father-in-law to the English woman for those episodes where they went to Britain. It was him and Dawn Sanders. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, she's very good. She's very good. And I think at any given stage, what we have on Earth, maybe 8 famous ventriloquists, and that's it. I feel like there's a hole in the market. People fucking love them. If I was a kid and starting over again, ventriloquism is the way to go.
Well, Jeff, Jeff and I know each other since about 1982, and he says I'm the first person to put him on television, so I'll believe him. But if you take all the ventriloquists, the early ones, and wrap them up, Jeff Dunham has been seen by more people than any ventriloquist ever to be seen. And Edgar Bergen was probably the most famous, but Jeff is doing, I'm sure you know this, Jim, he's doing 10,000 people in an arena now. Think about it, with a friggin' ventriloquist. That is amazing. Yeah,
but he puts on a good show.
Yeah, and
you can take your kids there, you can take your grand there, you can have a thing. There's adult jokes, kids jokes, jokes that go over the kids' heads and all type of stuff. It's a bit for everything. I think it's very good.
I worked with him early on when I was a comic at the Miami Improv. So he already was doing theaters, but for whatever reason he was at the Miami Improv that week, and he had the dead terrorist guy,
Ahmed.
and he told me that he told me the eyeballs were, he knew the guy that did Mars Attacks, the
oh, cool.
And they were the pinball machine.
They were the
the movie.
They were the eyeballs that the aliens had in Mars Attacks. And then tell me, this is what he told me. I don't know, Burt, but he said he had to create all his dummies back, even the ones that were made for him, because people would own the rights to his act or something.
Well, yeah, he did make all of them. He made all of them himself. I don't know that was his motivation when he originally started, but he's very talented. He does them with a 3D printer. So he makes them all. Peanut, Walter, Ahmed, Bubba J, all of them.
Yeah.
3D printer. So they're plastic, are they?
Yeah, the fiberglass.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, there you go.
And so who's the big manufacturers, Forrest? Your Forrest?
I don't know. Well, we were getting to that question. So it's earlier performers, you said Sherry Lewis, and I don't know if you mentioned anyone else, but
that bloke who was famous.
Yeah, Edgar Bergen. I forget what the other name was. Yeah.
Edgar Bergen, Paul Winchell. Paul Winchell was the one who I idolized. Loved the man, and I was lucky enough to become friendly with him in his later years. For about 20 years, we were friendly. And a little trivia on Paul Winchell, known as a ventriloquist, known as a performer, invented the first artificial heart.
What? Get the fuck out of here. And we're talking about ventriloquism.
All right, I'm leaving.
You're fucking kidding me. Like, seriously, invented the last heart? What was that?
Artificial heart, yeah.
Google Paul Winchell, artificial heart, you'll see.
Like a pacemaker or an actual...
No. You'll see if you're going to Google it.
Oh, he invented it. It just doesn't work.
He invented it, but you had someone else had to make the sound without moving their lips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He created he had the patent for the first artificial heart, Paul Winchell.
And do you reckon that's because he had his hand in things with little holes and going, valves, and then I don't know.
Well,
maybe
I think there was more to it than that. What's that?
I mean, yeah, it's true. He's still credited as a ventriloquist and comedian, but he made something so important.
And I've invented nothing.
Yeah. It would be cool if you just invented something like that.
Yeah, there's a photo of him holding the dummy, and the next photo is him holding a heart.
Yeah, you would think they would lead with the heart.
I know, right? You think that would take over?
Right, was he a doctor who did ventriloquism and then...
No, he wanted to be a doctor. He ended up being a performer, but he studied medicine while he was the top, one of the top performers on television. As a matter of fact, you know what he used to do? This is pretty crazy, but I'm going to tell you. he used to go to his vet and ask his vet when they would put down a cat or a dog, what would they do with it when it was over? And they said, well, we'd throw them out. He said, well, can I take a couple of them? And he would open them up to learn what was going on inside of all of the animals and humans, etc., and ultimately ended up inventing the artificial heart.
Jeffrey Dahmer did a similar thing, but went another way.
He was too hungry.
Yeah, his motivation was different, though, I think.
The 5 letters that cannot be said without moving one's lips. Jim said W. That's all you got to.
MPVB.
MPBB.
MP, yeah.
Think about it.
So MP.
Try to say mommy without moving your lips.
Yeah.
See?
BMVFP. BMFV.
You know what the problem is? My lips are perfect. Like, I think we can all agree my lips aren't moving right now. But it's my Adam's apple, my manly Adam's apple that gives me away, moving up and down.
Damn.
Look at
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How do you stop that?
Turtlenecks.
How do you make that?
You don't. You don't stop it.
You wear a scarf
You wear a
around your
turtleneck.
neck. Yeah, you wear a turtleneck.
turtleneck.
Yeah, turtleneck or a scarf or something.
Oh, so that's the thing ventriloquists do? They have to cover up their Adam's apple?
No, they don't. They don't care. They don't. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah. But I never thought about that. No. And then
I reckon I can do it whilst drinking water.
Oh, I'm gonna go get water.
Give me
I've
your
got a
water.
puppet here for you. I've got a soft,
All right.
what is it called? Soft and hard figure.
A soft figure.
I got a soft figure here. Hold on. I got one. I have one here for...
You got to figure out the voice is where you got to go.
There you go.
Ah, that is a soft figure.
Be careful with it, though.
Where'd you get him?
That's John Wynn as a puppet. When we did Labor Days web series, we had a series of puppets. So you can reach in there, you can feel, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. All right, so and Jack's got some classic jokes for you.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I just have to.
You want to try without
Hey
water?
there, Jack.
Hey.
How you doing?
Show him a couple jokes, Jack.
All right.
Here.
And then I should have a stick for his arm, so occasionally you can go like this. Oh,
Jim, this could bring your career to a whole new level.
Well, couldn't go down anymore. All right, here we go. You ready? All right. So what do we want to call this guy?
You can call him John. You got water in there.
Oh, I'm John.
Well, you don't talk into the can.
Hey, you guys, you know Albert Brooks, the comedian?
Sure, yeah.
It's really hard to do.
One of his most famous bits is him with a little ventriloquist dummy. And it was hysterical. Just the whole thing, he did it sort of the way you're doing it, Jim. At some point, look that up. It's very funny.
Here, we'll
See the
try
video.
without the water, Jim. Here's some jokes right here.
Which one? You.
Dummy, you dummy.
You make me look like...
Yeah. All right.
Okay. You make me look like I'm an idiot. Well, you don't need any help with that.
Yeah, you have the same voice.
It's amazing. The voice is so different, and the lip movement is.
I gotta do it. Voice.
Yeah.
Ah, you make me look like an idiot. Well, you don't need any help with that.
That's pretty good. The Al Pacino? Wait, try.
I like to smell women. Scent of a woman.
I'll pull up some Al Pacino quotes.
No, scroll down to that one, Jack.
Jack,
Which
you
one?
have a go. Have a go. See if you can pull it off.
Okay.
It's harder than it looks because you have
Sure
to
it
think
is.
while you're doing
You
it.
did pretty good. Your mouth wasn't moving.
Okay.
I don't think you're gonna, I don't think Jeff Dunham's in trouble or anything, but you did pretty good.
You look like Cam.
How do you define a bachelor? Someone who'd rather have a woman on his mind than on his neck. I assume that was terrible.
Well, you were moving your lips.
I don't. It's really hard. I don't know. I'll try to just squeeze the stomach.
And why is he flying?
Girl is yeah. I don't know. He does look like Cam Gavinsky.
Yeah.
If you know Cam, that's pretty
That's
accurate.
very good. Very good.
All right, we're moving on.
Forrest can't do it because Forrest can't do voices.
I can't. I can.
Try to time. Try to time it up.
Without a puppet.
Yeah, just do it without.
Try to do it.
Yeah.
Try to do a voice that isn't Forrest Shaw. I don't believe there's such a thing.
Hey guys. Hello. Ow! God.
All right. This is bad for the listener, good for the watcher.
All right.
We're not trained ventriloquists, but I do believe if I
Watch
sat
us on
in my
YouTube.
garage for a month, I would not get any better at it because I don't have a dummy.
Here, give him what? So, how are they made? You were saying 3D printer is one way they're made now, or they?
Well, that's one way, but normally they were sculpted out of wood. Way back when they were sculpted out of wood.
And who was the first ever sort of acknowledged ventriloquist dummy? Was it like there's always Egyptians involved or something? But like who was the first one on record? Do we know that?
I don't.
I don't think we know. Like that, because what I was telling you before is like it traces back to the Egyptians and Hebrew archaeology and Greek, but they don't know. So there was people that were able to do that.
If it was back with the Greeks, it would have been Stavros. Stavros and George.
The British music halls too. The British music halls start way back when. Vaudeville,
Oh, it always goes back to vaudeville.
Always.
Yeah.
And then who are some well-known puppet or figure makers, I guess, instead of dummies?
Say that again?
Who are some of the well-known makers of the
main one that everybody talks about is a guy named Frank Marshall, Marshall. He made many of the ones that that Paul Winchell, etc., used way back when. Frank Marshall was the guy, the figure maker. And then in England, a person named last name was Insull, Insul. He was the Frank Marshall of over,
A lot of incels using
across the
puppets to
pond.
this day as well.
Probably.
And then the Great Lester, was he important? I just found these names.
Yeah, he was one of the first to be known. Way back when. But not really though. I mean, they refer to him, but no, not really.
Okay, and then when I asked who is the most famous dummy, or the person they said it was. I mean, Jim said it's Walter, Jeff Dunham's old man Walter, who might be now, but they said it was Charlie McCarthy.
I think that's fair to say, yeah. Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy. That's Candace Bergen's father, by the way, Edgar Bergen.
That's...
Charlie McCarthy, I would say,
that's a classic.
and Jerry Mahoney, Paul Winchell's.
Yeah, because when I looked them up and we could put them on it, like Charlie McCarthy, I was like, oh, that's the guy I think of. That's the figure I think of when I think of like classic ventriloquism, is the guy with the monocle and the top hat and the...
What's the upkeep on, like, do you have to get like wood polish and stuff like that? Is there, or you just throw them in your bag and you move on to the next city, or is there like oiling the joints on the eyebrows or anything? What's the upkeep?
No, if you're working, then you're fine. I mean, it's always moving. But yeah, there's always little fixes that you have to do. But if it's made properly, it could sit in a trunk for 2 years and come back and it'll still be fine.
And I asked who Howdy Doody was, but Howdy Doody's that's not a ventriloquist.
No, Howdy Doody was a marionette, not a ventriloquist figure. Bob Smith, who was the sidekick or whatever, just pre-recorded. He did Howdy's voice, actually, but they pre-recorded the voice ahead of time.
If anyone's listening, I'm going to tell you the greatest puppet of all time is an Australian puppet called Mr. Squiggle. If you get a chance and you're with your kids, watch some old episodes of Mr. Squiggle. He's a guy with a pencil as a nose. He lived on the moon, and he would fly down each day, and kids would do squiggles. Then he would join all the dots with his face.
Oh, wow.
And he would draw, and he'd talk, and he'd have a blackboard that they'd put the stencil on. The blackboard was a moody cunt. The blackboard would sit there the whole time going, hurry up, I haven't got all day. I'm sorry, I'm painting this picture as fast as I can. That's the best puppet ever, Mr. Squiggle. Get a bit of miss. Then he went in a rocket ship that was so small that his nose would stick out the front of the fucking rocket ship. It was a belter.
That
Jeez,
sounds
was
pretty good.
I'm going to go home and... I haven't even shown that to my 2-year-old. Fuck it, I'm on Mr. Squiggle. That's my weekend sorted. Fuck the Super Bowl.
Okay. So the highest paid ventriloquist, Jeff Dunham.
That would be Dunham.
I'll say Jeff Dunham's ex-wife.
Terry
who I also knew very well.
Terry,
and you're right. She was paid very well. You're right.
Hi, I got all this money. Terry Fader would be paid pretty well too, though, right? Yeah, he would be.
Terry Fader.
Yeah, but nowhere near Dunham.
Yeah.
Nowhere near.
Yeah, because Dunham also has private jets, all this type of stuff, and he's selling out arena. And Fader's doing a 1,000-seat theatre. I know he goes on the road as well, but
Yeah.
it's got to be Dunham.
Yeah, you know,
Dunham's got to be right up there with the highest paid entertainers in show business. Fuck just ventriloquism.
Yeah.
So
You're
I
right.
feel like you either are very rich as a ventriloquist or dirt poor.
Well,
right.
I
There's no
feel
middle
like
ground.
there must be a moment in a child's life when they decide to become a ventriloquist where they have to come out to their parents, you know, like, because you have to ask for your first puppet, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not everyone's going. I'd be over the moon if either of my boys said I want to be a ventriloquist. I'd be right down at the puppet store the next day. I'd be all over that. Anything creative.
Did I tell the story on here where I got booked as a ventriloquist?
You did on the
Yeah.
last episode.
Oh, well, what are the odds?
That was a good story, though.
Listen to our last episode.
Hey, by the way, there's a good film from years ago called Magic with Anthony Hopkins, who plays a ventriloquist, and the dummy ends up taking over, and he can't control the dummy. Anthony Hopkins and Margaret. It's a pretty weird movie.
Yeah, there's also another similar film called Magic where Anthony Hopkins plays Magic Johnson.
That one's pretty good,
But
though.
because of current sensibilities in the world, no one can find it anywhere. I think it's on Disney Plus.
You mentioned Otto and George before.
Yeah.
I would cry laughing. That's how funny I thought he was.
Yeah, very, very funny. Very, very funny. I was
Filthy. You guys should know. Filthy like you cannot imagine. He had what came out of that dummy's mouth. So there were very few places he could really play because he was just dirty.
He was extremely dirty, and if it wasn't a puppet, you'd be cancelled, which was leading me up to a question. Has there been a cancelled puppet? Like, because
yes.
George.
You know who's been canceled?
Who?
Ahmed was canceled.
Really?
Yeah, he's not allowed to.
I thought he
doesn't
just
use
blew up
Ahmed
because
that
he had a
much. I
vest
don't know
on
why.
him. So Ahmed's been cancelled.
What he's saying, Burt's saying he doesn't use them. Yeah.
Really?
All that much? No, doesn't use them much at all.
Yeah, I could see that because when he came out with them, it was like right after, like 9/11, like not too far after 9/11, and then it became probably
Yeah, and then
On the Valentine's special that he just did, he actually brings him out and calls him something different, a different name. Believe it or not.
Timothy.
Weird. Yeah.
Timothy the
Here's
skeleton.
Timmy.
Yeah, he's not a terrorist anymore.
Well, he also has a jalapeno.
He would have after 9/11 put him away and gone, oh, I'm not using him anymore. And then the Boston bombing, and then you're like, oh.
No, when I worked with him, it was after 9/11 because I wasn't even doing comedy by that, so it had to be after that. But yeah, maybe I don't know.
I'd bring out Slav the Russian.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he's all about beating up in the Ukraine. That's my new character.
I was trying to remember this guy's name.
Boys, we have a thing to do. It's a good ventriloquist voice, the Russian accent. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can always beat up on the Russians.
Oh, yes, here we go. I'm a pierogi. Oh, yeah. Good stuff.
Here you go. Here's your dolls right there.
No, he's not Russian looking enough.
Sure, he's Russian.
No, he's not Russian looking enough.
I remember when I first started doing stand-up, I was working this club, this Bonkers is a chain, and I was featuring, and there was a ventriloquist. I was a headliner, but he was like at the end of his rope, like he was like he was holding together the figure with a lot of duct tape, but you could see it visibly. Yeah, you could see it. And I remember he had duct tape on the windshield of his car. He had duct tape on a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
and he just seemed really sad to me, and it was funny to me though, because there's something funny about a sad ventriloquist in real life. But then I remember him, we finished up the show, and I go, where are you going? He goes, I gotta go see this stripper I'm dating. I was like, this guy's life.
It all turned around for him.
No, I don't think it was going well. But,
it's like if you go to the Magic Castle and you see the main room, and that's the people that have the big sets, the cutting coffins in half and all that type of stuff. And a lot of their props are getting old. Yeah. And you'll see like the feet dangling out, and they'll be all pilled and whatever because they're fake feet out the side. And it's always their assistant is like a woman who you know was hot 30 years ago, but just stuck with this bloke. Like, all right, well, we're going to make it happen.
There was an old couple act I saw there that they just kept pulling cloths out of pockets and did it for like 10 minutes. And every time you go, okay.
Well, I've told you my theory is whenever you have birds involved in a magic show, they always put them early on in the show. So because right before they're going on, they're shoving doves up their armpits, doves up this sleeve. So they come out and they go, bird, 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 bird. And then the rest of it's just magic. No one ever brings out a bird right at the very end.
That would be real magic.
Yeah.
Burt, how many of the figures do you have? Like you have the one next to you.
I have about 30, 40 of them, something like that.
Holy hell, Carolyn!
Really?
Do you and you partake in the ventriloquism, or you gave it a go and you found out you couldn't do it, or it's something?
Well, I really never had a tremendous interest. I idolized these guys so much when I was growing up, and I loved the art so much that when I had a couple of bucks and had a little success under my belt, I found out I could buy them, the professional ones, and so that's what I did. I actually have one, Charlie McCarthy, Jerry Mahoney, the ones we've been talking about. I have some of those at home too.
Now, a lot of people know, I was saying this before, most of the ones, the wooden or the fiberglassy ones, it's a stick that goes down with levers on it, right? It's not a hand like that. So it's actually a stick with little bits that come out. One bit's the eyebrows,
if I can get to this guy, hold on a minute. I'll show you if I can get him.
What do you call this guy, Burt? What do you call him?
Little Burt.
Little Burt? I'd call him Reynolds.
Okay. So here you go. See? Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You see, there's the lever for the mouth, like you were talking about, Jim.
Yeah.
And then we'll look at the eyes.
Yeah. Everything's up a stick, you see?
See?
Yeah.
That's basically how they work.
Yeah, the eyes are important for the jokes.
Do many ventriloquists get carpal tunnel?
Probably.
I get one of my fingers I get a trigger finger from playing too much PlayStation every now and again. I got to go to a doctor and get injections. Like imagine that. Oh no, my career's over. I broke both my thumbs.
Oh no.
Oh.
So do you use your knowledge of ventriloquism? Like, do you speak other than this podcast? I mean, do you talk about it all, or you just studied and keep to yourself, or
it's just if somebody wants to talk about it, I'll talk about it. I mean, I have a huge office in my house downstairs, and all of the memorabilia from the Springer Show, from Sally, I have Sally's red glasses. Everything's down there, along with the dummies and pictures and all that. So people come in, it's sort of like a museum. They love it. They love to see it. Now, the young people will always say the same thing. This is creepy. You don't come down here at night, do you? That's what I hear all the time.
Well, this is the thing. My mother collected dolls. She was a doll collector, and then I was allegedly a teddy bear collector as a child. This is something you don't know about me. I was an arctophile, a collector of teddy bears.
Wow.
Right? And I wasn't. My mum just decided she wanted a teddy bear collection as well, so she put that onto another person, right? But the whole house was hoarded full of my mum's shit. But the living room had porcelain fucking dolls everywhere, and there was this one doll that used to stare at me as I watched TV. And if I was alone in the house, to this day, I would put a blanket over its head. My mum's been dead for years. No one's got rid of these bloody dolls, but my mum had like an extensive collection of Shirley Temple dolls and all this type of bullshit that she thought would be worth a lot of money. But everybody who used to go to the movies and watch Shirley Temple is fucking dead. These dolls aren't worth anything anymore.
You have to explain who Shirley Temple is.
Yeah, my mother bought them at the peak for women her age when they got money to, you know what I mean? So we have Shirley Temple dolls.
Are you interested in some Shirley Temple dolls, Burt?
I'm not into Shirley Temple dolls. Thank you very much.
I know where you can get some on the cheap.
His office is plenty creepy enough.
And then famous actors that started as ventriloquists. You mentioned a couple, right? You said...
Ted Knight, who was Ted Baxter on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And Don Knotts are the two that's from the Andy Griffith Show. Those are the two that stand out in my head anyway.
Cool. All right, this is the part of our show.
Drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket.
What?
Yeah, he was.
That guy?
Yeah.
Are you just making that up?
No, he was a very famous ventriloquist.
No.
He was.
You're just making that up.
You gonna pick me nuts out of my boo, boy? I'm gonna have you.
Yeah,
it was good.
What was that guy's name?
He was an actual drill sergeant. Of course, he wasn't a fucking ventriloquist. They got him just for that part.
That's Arlie Ermy.
Arlie Ermy, the ventriloquist.
And I was not looking it up. For the record.
This is the part of our show called Dinner Party Facts, where we ask our expert to give us some fact, obscure, interesting, the audience can use to impress people. I think you already used it, though, right?
What?
Yeah.
It was the Paul Winchell artificial heart.
Oh, man,
that
that's
is a
a
good
big
one.
one.
I already did. I'm sorry I blew it.
That's okay. No, he still blew. Jim was very excited about it. He still, as long as it's the same effect. It was just in the middle of the show instead of the end.
No, that's a banger.
Yeah,
that's a banger.
Paul Winchell invented it was a famous ventriloquist, but invented the artificial heart. And I think that is funny that when you look it up, it's like ventriloquist. Oh, also, by the way.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah. And
Saved a lot of lives.
When he went into the patent office, it must have been fun.
What do you mean?
This will never work. Are you some type of dummy? No.
He came in with it.
If I could do ventriloquism, I would have a puppet in my back pocket all day. It would just be a sock guy or
You
something.
could kind of do it. You did pretty good.
Yeah, I have to practice. I don't put enough effort into it.
I thought you were going to be way worse at it.
Oh, no.
Okay, maybe you are.
He just has to put his mind to it, you know?
Well, I don't know about that first. I don't know about that.
Yeah, you were better before.
No, you got to keep your teeth. You can't go through your teeth. You got to do that like pursed smile. So there's a little bit of wind that goes. So there's a little bit of wind that goes through. A little bit of wind.
Okay, all right. Well,
Oh, Jeff.
I'm
Help
doing
you out.
Forrest right now. He's just moving his lips, but I'm actually doing the voice. I can actually do Forrest is the easiest ventriloquist dummy ever.
Okay, Burt, thanks for being on our podcast. By the way, you can watch his show that he's an executive producer of now, Daily Blast Live, nationally syndicated talk show
with our
airing
friend Al Jackson.
76 markets, 86. Al Jackson is
Al
Al
Jackson.
still there?
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Jim, do you get to Denver at all?
I do. I am performing 2 shows at Denver at the Paramount Theatre. Go to jimjefferies.com, Jack, and we'll give the actual dates. I will be in Denver. You want tickets?
May 3rd and 4th.
May 3rd and 4th.
I want you to come on the show and hang with us for a couple of minutes.
What day of the weeks are those? Friday, Saturday?
Yeah.
Monday through we're on Friday. We're on Friday.
If I come in Thursday night, I'll come and do the show on Friday. It's a
You're in
deal.
Spokane the night before.
Jim, I would
I'm in Spokane the day
appreciate it, and I
before.
know Al would.
Well,
I know Al would.
I'd like to see Al again. He moved away from us a long time ago, and now he's producing, I assume, a ventriloquist type show.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you there, Al?
Al's there.
Where's Al?
Al's not in the room. I don't know where the hell he is.
He just left you
Come
there?
here. Here, I heard him. Hold on. I just threw my voice. He's over there. There he is.
There he
Al's
is.
right here. Good.
Al
Stick your head in.
Jackson.
There's Al.
Hello.
What are you doing? Why are you so
Al,
weird looking?
I asked Jim to come and do the show. And so hopefully, if we can get you to come in Thursday night and be with us Friday, that would be wonderful. But we'd really appreciate it.
Stay with me.
All right, I'll stay with you. All right. That'll
That I would not recommend.
Yeah,
that I would not recommend.
that'd be creepier than a house full of dummies, I tell you.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Burt.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, thank you
thanks
for being on, Burt.
Burt. Appreciate it, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're ever at a party and someone comes up to you and goes, the artificial in heart was invented by someone who wasn't a ventriloquist, go, well, I don't know about that, and walk away. All right, Burt. Oh, good night, Australia.